So here we have the Soroptimists from Northern England who did the first observation of the Special Domestic Violence Court to tell you what it's like.
Hello, my name's Jill Smith. I'm immediate past president of SI Newcastle upon Tyne, and I'm now retired, but I was a manager in the NHS.
I'm Joan Heckles, and I'm Regional Secretary of Soroptimist International, Northern England. And I'm also the magistrate, the retired magistrate.
Hello, I'm Catherine Waller, past president of Soroptimist International of Newcastle upon Tyne. My background is in healthcare education, and I previously studied for a postgraduate diploma in healthcare law.
Hello, my name's Chris Jones. I'm a member of SI Newcastle upon Tyne. I'm a past treasurer, and my background is in education.
My name is Christine Lumsden. I've been a long-term member of Newcastle upon Tyne Soroptimists, and I've been a secretary of the club and a regional secretary for many, many years. I'm a retired healthcare professional.
The training was really good, really enjoyed it. The only thing that I would say was that a lot of us had no previous experience of going to a magistrate's court. So a visit beforehand would have been really useful.
It's not really very comfortable, it's very hard chairs. You sit in the back, but it's quite useful because you see all different things in the back of the court. The family, the friends, the defendants and the partners often sit there. And they're wondering what we're doing, sitting writing. Pages and pages of information. They want to know what you're doing, and you just tell them, I'm observing to see that everything is done fairly in court.
I think it's a variable. If you commit to a half a day or a whole day, half a day will be about 10 cases, which is quite a bit of time to listen, concentrate. You need your pens and pencils to write up your notes there and then. And then, with as soon as possible time, you record onto your format, and that can take a day and a half.
I think first was think about how you look. Dress in sober clothing so that you look as if you're part of the professional staff of the court. One good thing about that is that you rarely then get mistaken to being a victim or a perpetrator. So neat and smart and sober clothing. And the other is you never know how long the court session is going to last. So take some light refreshments and a drink with you. There's rarely anything in the court buildings that allows you to do that, and it may be some distance away for the nearest sandwich shop. So take some refreshment. Take something that will help you get through the day. You never know when it's going to finish.
The observation form was really helpful. However, we didn't get that until after we'd had the training. And in retrospect, it would have been really useful to have that when we were doing the training so we could see how it fitted with the work that they were doing.
The feedback form I found quite straightforward. I think you'd have to have a certain level of IT literacy. I don't think handwritten completed forms would really help the analysis back at base camp. But basically you get the form emailed to you, and then you download it onto your computer, you fill it in, and then you can email it back and the job's done. There's a place for almost everything. Some of them are tick boxes. Most of them are actually text, so more description and an account of what's happened. I think the important thing as well is to get everything on the form. So any kind of ideas you have, any impressions, any criticisms or whatever, get everything on the form. Don't think that's not important, I won't send it anywhere.
What you see in court on that particular day may not have a beginning or an end. It might be only that particular part of the process of the court procedures. You need to write down everything that you can about that, because there will be other things that link in with it on other observers or your own observer later. So write down anything that you think could be useful, observations or facts or perceptions of what is going on, or even questions about what was this all about. But write down as much as you can, because that helps the whole case come together.
On that first day, it would have been helpful if someone who had delivered the training had been available, so that we would have a point of contact, so that if we had any queries, we would know who to speak to.
The ushers are very, very important, because they actually prepare the court lists for you, and they will keep you up to date with the court lists, because it isn't numerical. If you have 10 cases, it's not 1 to 10. It can be 9, 3, 2, 1, and they will tell you which case is still outside and which one's coming in, because you don't always hear the name until you're well into the case.
I think having a single point of contact back in the office that's administrating the whole observation process is very, very valuable. You may need to check how you're recording on the form and think about have you put enough information down, or the type of information that might be very useful during the observation process. And to be able to check that out with somebody who's seen all the observation papers puts you very clearly in the picture of what's expected to write down on the form.
I think, from my experience, having a probation officer there was really helpful. What would happen is that the judge or the magistrate would say, you know, is there a probation officer available? And the defendant, if there was, the defendant would go out, be interviewed, be assessed by the probation officer on a one-to-one basis. On a good day, that probation officer would then come back in and report directly, verbally, to the court. So you get to hear everything, and you can record that then on your feedback questionnaire. Sometimes probation officers weren't available, or they might have been in another court, so then, you know, that wasn't so helpful. Sometimes they would report back to the magistrate or the judge electronically via iPads and computers, which means you then don't get the gist of that report at all, which means you have a gap. So you just report that on the form, on the questionnaire, you know, that was electronically delivered and we didn't hear it in court. I think having a probation officer there and reporting back to the court is immensely valuable. I think the defendant obviously would feel, I think, more comfortable talking on a one-to-one basis, and so probably divulges a bit more, shares a bit more than in an open court. And the big thing for me, what I saw was, when a probation officer was able to report in court, it then dynamically progressed the proceedings. The court then moved on very rapidly. When that wasn't available, I felt things kind of got protracted. So I'd say, you know, if a probation officer is there, watch it moving fast.
Very early. The earlier the better, because when you first get there, you're sitting with quite a lot of people, the defendants, their relatives, their partners, the children, and you hear so many different things. But it is important to go into court a little bit earlier. Then you get settled in the back of the court with your papers and your pens, but you also hear the Crown prosecution talking to the defendant, and that can be very illuminating.
Sometimes you might get a district judge who has a longer list and deals with them much more competently and confidently. So you need to speed up in your recording, because the amount of information that's being got through is much greater than if it was a magistrate's bench. Very clearly and confidently the case is dealt with, but at a much faster pace.
I hope all of that was helpful for you. They were not people who had ever been to court before. They soon picked it up. They produced an absolutely excellent set of observations and a very, very good report. We hope you do the same.